listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Well, welcome. Well, now it's working?
Yeah,
I heard you the whole time. I don't know what he's saying.
That's just because I am living rent free in your head. Let me try this again. Welcome to another edition of Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, Justin Outlaw Harvey. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can, in fact, find the entire show on social media at MMMshow75. Oh, just like to say M. You got my man Tony Allen down there, downtown. Tony Allen, how's it going, brother?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's going. I'm on 3 hours sleep for the past 48 hours. Hopefully, this will be the end of that. And but it's good. I mean, we had some interesting stuff to do today that you guys are gonna get to see right after our usual blah blah blah. And I think you're all gonna enjoy it pretty much.
I'm a big fan of blah blah blahing.
Also, follow me on TonyST.Allen everywhere. I think. I don't know. Just follow me.
And over there,
Call me Upper East Side if he gets to be downtown.
wow,
Upper East Side, Byron Turk at Byron Fever.
Don't call him
Catch it.
American.
All the hottest wrestling takes in pictures of cats on my socials. You don't want to miss a thing.
you don't want to miss a thing. I'm going to come in hot. We're going to do a couple of things, and we really want to get to our guest this evening, Simon Miller, who, if you're following our socials, you know that he's in the house and he's going to be on this episode, and there's some great stuff coming with Simon Miller. But I want to get started with this Newell Nixon, Miranda Alize thing that happened at AEW.
Something happened?
No, nothing happened. Like, and it's cooled off a little bit now, but I still kind of want to get into it a little bit because I'm kind of glad we get to react to it a few days later than when it happened, because there was a lot more story to something that was very simple. And it took a little bit of time to put together the pieces. Oh, isn't that so nice? Rebecca's so nice to me, Byron. She's nice to me.
Rebecca, I send you $5 a week to compliment me, and every week you
And it still
compliment
doesn't work,
Justin.
and she still gets paid, and it's so
Do we
beautiful.
look the same to you? Are you getting confused? I'm paying for you to be nice to me.
So Newell Nixon and Miranda Alize, they've been formerly Teagan Knox.
I know her.
Yeah, and her friend, Miranda Alize.
Never heard.
Alize, like the drink. I like the Alize.
I've heard of drinking.
Get down on that
That was
Alize.
very late, early 2000s.
Right.
Reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was more hypnotic.
If you're
I
not
think
Gen
that
X,
was
you really shouldn't know anything about Alize. You need to be like a Gen X hip hopper listening to Kwame records in 1988.
Yes.
I know Gen Z.
If you're down with Big Daddy Kane, you might understand that reference. All right. So Nixon Newell and formerly Teagan Knox and Miranda Alize, they worked in AEW the previous week. They had a thing with Megan Bain, and we'll get into that part of things later. But basically putting together the timeline after the fact, they show up. You know, they've been asked to come out. They're not fully under contract, but, you know, obviously Teagan had a WWE run, so she has a little bit of value there, and she's a name. I don't know if she's the biggest name ever, but she's definitely a name. Oh, that's not you. I want James. Yeah, James, what's going on, brother? So
wow.
Alize was liquid crack. Of course, James would know. See, James is in the same bracket with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I was more to hypnotic. That's what I was trying to say.
I was from the Four Loko generation.
Jesus
No, you're
Christ.
not. No, God, no.
So these ladies show up to work,
Right.
and from putting together the story after the fact, they always knew they were going to lose. But the way that the story came out was that they refused to work because they were going to lose a match. That was the way it was reported. That's really all that was reported, was like, and
Right
it came
away.
out quick. It hit the dirt sheets. It hit them all. We'll get into that part too.
I don't think the show was over when this was
The
already out.
show was just starting.
Right?
And it was like Nixon, Newell, and Miranda Alize storm out of AEW refusing to do the job or whatever. And it was like, damn, that is not cool. If you did that, this is similar to what Mercedes and Trinity did. Naomi, like, they refused to do a match while they were tag champions. This is why they got let go. Trinity went to TNA, rehabbed herself, came back to WWE. Mercedes went on to sign the biggest female wrestling contract of all time in AEW and make Okada levels of money.
There is a difference between the two things.
Yes, there's a lot of differences between
Huge difference
actually, yes.
because Trinity and Mercedes leaving, you'll get into this. That was meant to be a statement. That was meant to be a bit of a, I'm being disrespected, so I'm taking my ball and going home.
Yes, and I agree with Brent.
Yeah.
I love that High End stepped up in Maya World. Maya's awesome, and
Oh yeah, Maya Ward. Yes, of course.
I'm also sad that they didn't get more time. So later, the story comes out, and a little bit it came out from Nixon Newell herself, and a little bit of it is factual information that the girls were going there to lay out the match. They knew that they were going to lose. That was not the issue. What they said was, I don't know if losing in 3 minutes does anybody in this match any good. Is there a way for us to get more time? The question was posed. There might have been some grumbles, but it seems like the question was posed relatively politely from everything I've understood about the situation. And then an answer was retrieved, and it came back after it went up the ladder to the bosses that no, sadly, because of the format of the show tonight, there just is no way to expand that 3 minutes. And thusly, because of that, they were free to go home if they wanted to. Like, they weren't going to be needed for the match. They'll find somebody else, and maybe a squash against somebody else was more appropriate. That being said, what happened after that was the girls left. They did leave. They're posting on their Twitter, drinking at the bar, doing some other stuff. And that is when the shit really hits the fan.
Right.
I don't know if that was taken as a sign of disrespect to the women's locker room, which I imagine was the case, because all of a sudden then every dirt sheet had the story, which to me means people in the back were talking. Sometimes things get out from AEW more than other companies, which I think is really unfortunate in a lot of ways. But I think they were starting to come out pretty unfairly against these girls, but also leaving might not have been the smartest call. So we can get into some of the finer points, but what were you guys thinking when this whole thing was going down over the course of like 24 hours? What were your thoughts?
You want to go, Byron?
Tony, do you want to go? Okay, all right.
right.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I thought that it just seemed extremely foolish on behalf of the talent. I don't know. I wasn't there when they were doing business, discussing the details and stuff. I wasn't there, and also knowing what happened, I still don't know background or like what they signed up for when they started doing spots in AEW. But from a fan perspective, they conducted themselves very poorly, I think, over the course of the whole incident. Refusing the job, which is what they got blamed for at first, looked bad. Turning down 3 minutes of TV time still looks bad. Back in the day, our wrestling shows, we would watch Raw, and they would have 2 minutes after entrances to do a TV match. That's TV wrestling. We get spoiled at AEW with their matches, but it's just they didn't carry themselves well. I don't think necessarily they did anything technically wrong, with how you describe it and everything, and they had the conversation and they were given permission to do things that they did. But at the end of the day, my big thing is like the Young Bucks got heat because they didn't shake, and TNA because they didn't shake Booker T's hand once. They like each other. They worked together later on, made a thing of it, but still they got heat for it. Kenny Omega, who's like one of the most beloved, humble, giving people in wrestling today, made one sarcastic, dry joke at a meeting, and it got blown up. And I'm not saying that was the wrong thing to do, but I'm saying that that happened. And there's a reason that there are certain etiquette rules, unwritten rules that you do. And it's either just, to keep heat off your back or to prevent misunderstandings, all that stuff. It's just, if you're in the business, you should know that. You should know how to conduct yourself as a professional, especially at a TV company. That's the thing. And they one of them knows better. I don't know anything about the other one, and they did not do it. So that's
Okay.
it.
Tony?
Okay, so I have kind of a. It might sound conflicting when I tell, but as far as the proletarian, I'm always on the side of workers. Like infinitely, I will always side with workers because corporations are, evil and stuff.
Yeah.
But however, there is something to be said about etiquette, of course. Because the story, if you think about it, is they stormed out. So if they had stayed, even though they didn't have a match, then there will be no story, right? Basically that's what it means, right? But I go back to what I was saying. I think last week, probably about having the proper PR and knowing how, because even in the PR is not always, having proper interview or on social media. It's also the way that you behave, so that that doesn't create a problem for you later on. So I think that unfortunately, I don't think the behavior afterwards was not the best, but I also don't think that you don't have the right at any moment to raise your hand and have doubts of what you're doing. Because you do have the ability to be like, oh, okay, hold on. So I'm gonna lose here in 15 seconds flat. What does that mean? Because I'm trying to build something, and you guys are correct. Of course, TV time is TV time. Of course, like every wrestler is just waiting for that. But then, what is the next step after that?
Right.
And I think that's a big problem that it doesn't get answered often. And it's just like, hey, you got an opportunity, go knock it out of the park. But yeah, but if they're like, throwing all balls at you, what are you supposed to hit, right? So I think that's the problem. They being on a stream, right? Not even before the show is over. Yeah, that's terrible. That's all, again, PR and media preparedness and all this stuff. You have to know that is part of the game, more important than it can be better than your in-ring action. And to be honest, I barely know these people at all. I've learned more about them through this situation. Unfortunately, I learned mostly negative stuff because everybody just went after them. But I don't know. I also think there's got to be a balance. And unfortunately, when something like this happens, everyone has to comment. Everyone,
They do.
and the reaction that you will get, again, PR, is it depends on how much you have invested in positivity in your image. Because if you have not portrayed yourself in a positive manner in the locker room, on social media, with the bosses, of course you're gonna get a negative reaction out of doing something, because then we kind of had a repeat of it with Andrade, just like that, like middle of the week or like a couple days, but he was smart enough to make a joke out of it and just got out of it like in 2 seconds. He just
again.
Yeah, of course, like that guy is just like Matrix.
He is the Matrix.
He's untouchable. He's going to be hired by
WWE. Yeah, man, I can show up to work and complain and not go to work and walk out early and it's fine. Yeah. Nixon did not do that.
Nope.
So let me keep it real. Let me break down some harsh realities for both sides of a thing like this. First of all, everyone is entitled to an opinion on this one because it affects like the whole business when stuff like this happens. Because I think right now the entire industry is redesigning what's okay. What of the old rules apply? What doesn't apply? Wrestler's court is gone, but at the same time, like, where's the accountability? But also, like, make it make sense. Like, yeah, Nixon Newell is a little bit of a name. Is it okay for Anna Jay and Tay Guevara to squash them? I see that as definitely a more competitive match. A squash there doesn't make sense to me. Now, if it's Chris Statlander and Megan Bayne, squash, sure. Or even if you give me Mercedes and Tony Storm or somebody as the opponents that just have a big resume and are the biggest names in the company. And I love Anna and Tay, but at the same time, they're in AEW, they're definitely above Nixon and Miranda. Sure, absolutely. But not a 3-minute squash above them. So absolutely, you're in a situation like that. It should be okay for you to say, hey guys, come on. Like, we're going to get squashed here? And if the answer comes back, yes, then you do it. You do the job. But the answer also didn't come back, yes, you're going to get squashed. The question they asked was, can we get more than 3 minutes and still lose? And the answer was, no, you can't. And everybody, I think, decided that it wasn't a good look. So they walked away. So there's this whole part of the story that people are arguing against that just didn't happen. It just didn't happen that way, guys. And this is not taking Nixon's point of view over one thing or the other. Ask some of the people backstage at AEW if they were being rude or out of line. There's no one that's saying that they were being rude or out of line. People are saying they left because they did. And that's the problem. And the people felt disrespected. I want to read something real quick. This is from a certain wrestler who I happen to respect a lot. Her name is Taya Valkyrie. And she said on Twitter, at the end of the day, this is a business. It is our job. It doesn't matter if you get 1 minute or 45. You make every second in front of those fans and on that TV count. It is an honor and a privilege to be a part of the show. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've been in every position, good, bad, champ, enhancement, and every single aspect of the show, small or big, is important. Make it count, and that's my TED Talk. Now, Taya took a lot of crap for that also, which is completely unfair. This woman knows what she's talking about, and she eats shit every week. She is a superstar on the middle 15-minute segment of Ring of Honor right now. This is not exactly a woman who's getting pushed to the moon, okay? And yet she shows up with a smile. She does her job. Her and Johnny come up with their segments when they can. They pitch for themselves. They tried to get that TV show thing going with TBS too that went to the internet. She just keeps going, and she actually practices what she's preaching right there, people. She shows up and she does the work. And yeah, of course, when they give her shit sandwiches, she's like, hey guys, come on. I'm Taya friggin' Valkyrie. Like, I'm kind of a big deal sometimes. Can you let me be a big deal? Of course she's going to say that. And she has every right to say that. And then when it doesn't go right, you know what she does? She either goes back to catering, sits her ass down, talks to some people, and tries to figure out another way to politic or get herself over the next time. Or she goes and does the job or whatever it is that she has to do. Her and Deanna aren't getting over. Read some of Deanna's statements out there. Deanna is a mensch. She's just like, yeah, I want to be on TV more. Yeah, I think I deserve to be on TV more. But also, yeah, I like my job and I listen to my bosses. And if they don't have something for me, they don't have something for me. I wish that wasn't the case. But the second they do, I'm going to come show up and give 110%. And every time they have something for her, she does. Does it suck? Abso-fucking-lutely. It sucks. It stinks. Nobody wants to be at a place on the totem pole that isn't making you more money or getting you more over. You wouldn't be in the business if you were okay with that. You're not supposed to be okay with that. You're not supposed to be okay with being further down the card. You're not supposed to be okay with a 3-minute squash from other talent that you look at as being kind of around your level. You're not supposed to be okay with that. However, you are supposed to listen to the people that sign your checks. And if you want to stick around the company, you are supposed to ingratiate yourself to people. You're supposed to show up and introduce yourself. You are supposed to shake the hands. You really are. That's the part of the business that I think doesn't get enough respect. There's too many brats in the back sitting around acting like they know something when they don't. And no, I'm not a worker, but yes, I can say that because you know what? When I show up, I still shake hands. I still respect people. I keep my mouth shut when it's time to keep my mouth shut. I'll speak up when it's time to speak up. And that is the way it goes. I'm in the entertainment industry. It's not just wrestling. This is across the board. They should have.
I think this is at everything, man. Like this is all kinds of jobs require this part of you being, and I don't know at one point where this went off the rails that you don't have to socialize, but maybe during the pandemic at worst, but you do have to socialize with your coworkers because that is what makes the company, any kind of company, strong. If you work in a bakery with other 5 guys, you know, those are the people that you are working with to build something so that you will get eventually paid more. And I think that at least with wrestling, I see that when the pie gets bigger, you know, it does trickle down to the workers. Of course, there's always like a minimal amount, but you're not getting $1 billion, right? But it does come back to the workers like that. And I think that's I think that is a very important part of it. You do have to be able to associate yourself better and be sociable. Being sociable is not a bad thing, and I think that now it has become a bad thing for some reason.
Well, there's a lot of clicks. It's hard to be sociable at AEW. I get it. I like what Brent's saying here too. It sucks because AEW has so much talent and not enough time for everyone.
That is
so true. And they lost an hour of TV this past year. Don't forget, they lost Rampage, and there was a lot of people that were getting over on that show. You know, and you look at Tay. She worked Rampage a lot, and it really helped her out. You know, it's part of why when she came back, she got a big reaction. She did a lot of Rampage. You know. And I think if they had
where
Rampage,
is Shockwave? Where is
see
Shockwave?
Yeah, exactly. I think if you had Rampage, you'd see a lot more of Deonna Purrazzo and Serena Deeb and some of these other talents that you don't see. And maybe you'd get more Billy Starks and Athena and Red Velvet and some of the other girls from Ring of Honor having a place on TV. But there isn't. So they take what they can get in Ring of Honor and they make the very best out of it. And some of them are doing excellent work. You're not going to see a lot of it, and that sucks because there's so much damn wrestling on TV. But I think at the end of the day, I also have heard that a lot of this is Miranda kind of pushing Newell in a direction that maybe isn't great and that she might be a bad influence. So if Miranda is causing any issues or is giving bad advice, hopefully she's learned something from this. If it was Newell herself that was doing these things, I hope she learns. I think that Newell does still have something to offer the industry. I'd love to see her get another chance at some things. I think it might be spoiled at AEW. I think the girls in that locker room, as you see from Taya's response there, are kind of like, you had a shot. We don't really need you. There's plenty of us over here. And if
there's a line still, like,
yeah, like, and if you're not
back
if you're not going to play ball, like, and look, it takes a certain something. Like, you think Tekla was welcomed with open arms? No, not at all. I don't think she was. And now she absolutely is. Now she is 100% a part of that locker room. And what did that take? 4 months? She came in, she paid her dues. You know, she worked out the kinks with some of the girls, and she's still rough as hell. If you watch that match tonight, like I'm not signing up to wrestle Tekla anytime soon, but is it entertaining to watch on TV? Hell yes. Have the girls in the locker room accepted her as like, okay, well, you're gonna wrestle Tech tonight, man. You tuck your chin. Like, you know, and that's
hot after.
that's the way a lot of locker rooms are. And AEW is a little bit more the Wild Wild West, in my opinion, where you don't have that hierarchy that you would have in other locker rooms, or you have little factions of it, and you have cliques, and you have, you know, TK has a certain way of handling talent that, you know, some may or may not disagree with, but it's his company, it's his money. If that's the way he wants to deal with it, that's the way he wants to deal with it. He told those girls, okay, well, your services aren't needed if 3 minutes isn't going to do the job. So you can leave. But next time when they say you can leave, say, thank you. I understand that. We'd like to still stick around and get more familiarized with the culture of your company and what you guys are doing here. And hopefully we'll have a better spot for us next week.
Yeah, stick around and contribute and make friends and show that you want to be there, even if you're not getting something out of it, because you got to show goodwill. You're being let into someone else's home, so you need to have that respect.
Yeah, I mean, that really is a big part of it. It's a lot about respect in general. Man, you know, did I erase my other banner? Oh no, I want to do this. Can we do pops and drops?
Yeah,
Sure.
I want to get to Simon, but I want to do some pops and drops because there are some fun things this week. I'm going to do my pop first because I think coming out of Blood and Guts tonight, like, first of all, I want to give the women all the credit in the world for that Blood and Guts tonight. It was a little sloppy at times, but at the same time, by the time I got to the end of it, I was entertained. Me and Tony were talking earlier. He was a little more, I think it lost him a little because it was definitely sloppy in spots.
Yeah.
I think I had more problems with the production end of things, and I didn't know I'm gonna get heat. But I just have
figured out.
I was telling him about this angle they continuously try to do when they try to rotate the camera, especially when they're doing some kind of like cage match, and then the camera goes like to the side, and it creates like a blinds effect with the cage weaving, right? So all you see is glare, so you don't know what's going on inside because you can only do, I don't know if this is the material they use for the cage or whatever, but you can only see if the camera it's like frontal. Once you go to a little bit to the side, it starts becoming, you know, like a pan of glass.
Gets smaller.
Yeah, so it's so difficult. So I was like, wait, I don't even know who's hitting who anymore. Those are the kind of things that
there were clearly angles that were not practiced with that lighting earlier in the day. They couldn't have been. And whoever was sitting in the control room should have been like, oh, that doesn't look good. Hey, 2, back out, compress, and stay on there. Go to 1. Like, I've done live directing before. It's not that hard. It's super stressful. It's the most stressful job out there. But like, I've done kickboxing live directing and stuff like that. Like, it's doable. Like, you know, you pick your angles, and it also helps to have some familiarity of what you're looking at. And I still feel like sometimes these directors on all these shows, like, what are we doing here? Why do we not go to the wide shot there? Why are we going to the close up when these guys are table talking on the mat? Why are we doing this, that? It's just like, come on. But yeah, there was a little bit of that. I didn't like the bottom of the ramp floor angle into the cage during the women's match. A lot of action was happening right near the tacks also. I thought that could have been spread out. And Jesus, some of these bumps. Again, Tekla with the belt and stuff was a little much. Chris face slammed Megan on the wrong side of the chair. Come on, ladies. That's not safe. There's no reason. We don't need that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of that was safe. I think though,
no.
I mean, if I haven't seen the men's match yet, but like I would, you know, if I saw a train wreck of a hardcore match on the men's side, I would be happy as a fan. I wouldn't be happy if I was a performer because, you know, you're not in there to get hurt.
Was a lot more methodical. The spots were way more set up.
But it was I saw the Hangman Will Hobbs match, which I loved, and they did some crazy stuff, but they the word you used, they were methodical about it. They moved at a slow pace. If they were going to do something crazy, they stopped, let the crowd register that they were going to do something crazy. You get a bit of a simmering pop before you do it, and then you do it, and then you get another pop. You get your money's worth for what's going to happen, a calculated risk. I'm happy the woman got to do the match. They seemed like they were super excited for it.
They were very committed to the match.
I thought they pulled it off as far as doing a good match, but AEW isn't really, I don't think, a place where a wrestler will learn. Some wrestlers will learn a lesson before they learn it, if that makes sense. Because you have people that could say, here's some advice, or this is what you're doing. Do it. I recommend doing it this way. Don't do this, do that. And I don't think they had it, or they weren't listening to that. And they went balls to the wall. They rushed through a lot of stuff. They went fast. I mean,
and a lot of that is on the agent. I don't know who the agent was, but also they may not have listened to the agent. There might have been a whole lot of get your shit inning that happened, and the agent was just trying to get across the finishes that the boss wanted him. A lot of times agents are like, okay, whatever. Like, so I can't blame him, but at the same time, that's why you need to have a structure where the agent / producer of the match has the juice. You know what? This might be a crazy thought. What would have been really nice is, I think Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa should have produced that match.
Absolutely.
Let two girls who have gotten beaten up, who've gotten injured, who have been in those matches, who have bled, who are, believe it or not, you guys can say all you want about the two of them, but they are more concerned with their safety in the ring probably than a lot of the locker room at this point. They've been through it.
Yeah, I would say
like that.
Like, I'm not saying Sky Blue specifically, but I'm saying like a Sky Blue type person in AEW, that generation would probably listen more to the first women's hardcore lights out cage match in AEW than like Jerry Lynn, because it's all the respect to Jerry Lynn. I love the guy, but like I watched his years where he proved himself in the industry. They maybe heard legends of it. There's a different response.
Right.
This is something that I was like, we're talking with Justin earlier, that it only took Thunder and Britt to entertain us, and now you had 25 people in the match, and I don't think it captured the same amount of entertainment and the same amount of attention that it did, or even the build up and everything. I think that's why that match stands out. I mean, I'm talking about the championship match, right? Like the cage match. And of course, I think that they will benefit from having at least the hand of the experience from the women's side, because there is also for what we're talking about, there is a different psychology. You just mentioned something in there, Byron, that we see if something goes crazy wrong with the men's match, we are like, that's horrible, but that would look great. Like that table, he did not land on the table, but so and with the women, we don't have the same psychological reaction. So we do have to have the women guiding the women so that we have that reaction from them.
That's another point I wanted to make, is like in watching the False Count Anywhere match. That's my only other frame of reference on the show so far. Multiple times when they did a high risk spot, like you said, if it went bad, people will love it. And if it went bad, you probably could buy it as a finish, because like, oh, he got hurt on that, I'm satisfied with the match, blah, blah, blah. But the psychology in building that spot. Whereas in the women's match, again, I loved it, and I'm happy for all of them. I hope they're all okay, and I hope some of them will be okay. But you have things that you have little things that hurt big. Like Megan Bain was whipping people with a big plate of the belt in the back of the head. You don't get a pop for that. It's barely on camera, but it's brain damage. That's the opposite of the equation of professional wrestling. People say it's not ballet. Of course, there's going to be bumps and bruises. But the smart part about wrestling is how many dollars can you earn per bruise, per bruise you give or receive. So like if you're out there getting a huge pop because you did something fucking crazy and it goes good or bad, if it goes bad, you got a huge pop. You're going to get, money, how the industry used to be built. If you do something that's so inconsequential, it's in a wide shot of 40 people in a cage match, and you just baseball swing a belt and hit someone in the back of the head. No one knows it. Now you take someone off, they can't work for who knows how long, and who knows how long you might get in trouble for, and what did you get for that?
Right.
So I think there's a lot of that where other voices
you need value,
help them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need value for the punishment that's going into it. But by the way, this was not my pop. I just wanted to segue into the PWI 250. My pop was Mercedes Moné hitting number 1. I actually think that is good for the business and the right call. I don't know if you guys have seen this full 250 list, but top 10 is Mercedes, Tony Storm, Kamitani, Tiffany Stratton.
Kamitani is amazing. She's been doing great stuff.
Yeah, she's number 3 on the list. So Steph Vicker is number 5 again. Io Sky, Athena hit number 7. Sari hit number 8. Naomi hit number 9, which makes me really happy, especially since she's going to be Mall. And Rhea Ripley hit number 10. I think I can get behind that. And again, like a lot of it's subjective, but I love seeing like Saul Ruka's up at 23. Nina Samuels came in at 25. Chelsea Green was 28. Probably would have put Chelsea a little higher. Zeuxis is 30. Like that's a good call. Suri's 39. There's just, this list is so much better this year. Tekla made 46. Queen Aminata 47. I think Queen Aminata was like 2-something last year.
Yeah, she had a
Jamie
year.
Hayter's back in the top of the list. Persephone's at 51. Red Velvet at 52. With the amount of time that she held that belt, and look, she's out injured right now, so it's great to see her hitting a good number. Marina Shafir has moved way up the list. I mean, she was a non-factor in wrestling a year ago. You can say what you want about the Death Riders, but Marina Shafir has maybe saved her entire career with the Death Riders.
Well, she's one of the bright spots of the Death Riders. Yeah. And it's amazing to look at old AEW matches and then look at her in this cage match. And she was one who she works with Mox and a bunch of other vets. Everything she did seemed to have an impact or matter. Also, you don't have to take your boots off before a cage match. You could save that gimmick for a different match.
I mean, but when she stomped her feet into the glass, I mean, that kind of paid it off.
I'm wrong. That was
Tiffany Nieves is at 69. Did she lobby to get number 69? I'm going to say she did.
Nice.
Tiff, bad. Bailey's right after her. Bailey's probably mad that she wasn't 69. We got Bozilla on there. Like this, Maya World at 84. We were talking about Maya earlier. I know that Brent's a fan. I am as well. Indy Hartwell still on there at 91. Thunder Rosa in there at 96. Right above Alexa Bliss and Billy Starks, and followed up by Deonna Purrazzo. I mean, like, just a good list this year. I will tell you,
very well analyzed. That's what I will say. Like,
I think it was. I think it was very well analyzed. And I'm going to disagree with some of the numbers, but overall, I can't look at this list this year and poo-poo it like normal. Normally, I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? This is garbage. I think this list is actually, it actually makes a lot of sense. And James, of course, yes. Like, look, there's over, and then Rhea Ripley is so over.
Stephanie on,
Stephanie's higher than Rhea Ripley, and maybe she is more over than Rhea right now.
I'll make sure. That's what I do in this place, so I'll make sure.
Yeah. Again, I like the list. I will tell you the 2 snubs that I have an issue with. two young ladies that I think really deserve to be on that list are Lady Bird, Monica Monroe, and Gigi Ray. The stuff that they've done in Reality of Wrestling and Booker T's company and all around the indies, they've been on their game for a while now. Lady Bird also had a couple of AEW appearances and Ring of Honor that were solid. Gigi Ray spent time getting her ass kicked over in Japan and putting on banger matches. I think, yeah, maybe their strength of schedule is not what it is for some of the other women, but if you watch their matches and their move sets and their psychology and what they're doing, I don't understand why they're not, tag team champs at NXT right now. They're as good as anybody over there. So I would say that those are the two women that I know. Even Izzy Moreno made that list this year. She's a little higher than I would have put her. She's in the 240s. She's almost at the end of the list, but at the same time, she's young. So I think they know she's got time to work her way up. And that's a part of the political thing because her strength of schedule is actually pretty good. She's wrestled some big names this year. But Lady Bird's even in the WWE ID tournament that's coming up for the vacant championship or whatever. She's making the rounds enough that I think she should have been at least in the 200s on that list. Maybe Gigi doesn't make it, but Lady Bird, she's as professional a wrestler as half these women that are on here. So that was the one snub that I thought. But other than that, the PWI 250 is my pop of the week. Byron, give me a pop.
My pop is having old school TNA pop up on my Twitter algorithm. And what's his name? Puppet the Psycho Dwarf pulling a gun on Jeff Jarrett on an episode of TNA. That was my favorite thing of wrestling that I've seen this week.
Oh my God.
What do you mean? We remember. We don't have a choice. We remember every single week of that original TNA run.
Yeah, and it's funny because I don't remember. There's a lot of stuff about wrestling I don't remember, but some of that stuff, horrifying and great and memorable at the same time.
Flying Elvises?
Yeah.
Sonny Siaki was amazing. But
I saw Super Crazy and Tajiri pop up from Living Dangerously 98, and I
went back and watched the whole thing.
Oh my God, it brought back so many memories, and I had seen them at the pay-per-view right before that in Florida in a 3-way match with somebody else, and it was just oh my God. I mean, Super Crazy was literally the first luchador I ever saw actually in the ring, in person. I had seen the Psychosis Ray tapes, and I'd seen some of the stuff from Mexico, and I'd seen some of the LA Coliseum stuff or whatever, but in person, Super Crazy was the first luchador I ever saw live, and then got to meet him a couple years ago down in Tijuana, which was amazing also. But sometimes there's just certain things that actually stick out in your mind, and usually they're the ridiculous ones.
And then you went to get Chinese food?
Yeah. All right, Tony, what's your pop of the week?
So I was gonna do my drop first and then my pop. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so my drop, because I wanted to be quick, because we already spoke at length of it. It's, again, wrestlers PR. Get a PR strategy. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just get a PR strategy and listen to your management. That's what I gotta say on that. It's just terrible. I mean, this could be, pops and drops, and maybe we should just do who did a bad PR this week.
Yeah.
That's
seems to be one every week.
It is a recurring theme on this play. So maybe we should just add a new segment. Anyways, so that's my drop.
Oh God.
I did so.
Brent.
I was going to
Hold on,
say
what's
that.
Brent's drop? My drop. Jericho thinks TNA is the second biggest promotion.
Do people care? Do people care what Jericho says or does anymore? He's been off TV for forever. He's going to come back to a Hall of Fame 9-month run. He's going to do some catchphrases.
No, but it does affect he's just trying to get more money from
the only person that should be mad about Jericho right now is AJ Styles, because Jericho's going to steal AJ's retirement thunder.
That is true. Because next year we're doing the whole AJ is going away. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's supposed
Trade
to be.
Market.
Now the soccer mom's not going to get any love.
AJ is going away. Does that
Yeah,
rhyme?
it
I
is.
don't know.
Burned
English is not my
again.
Anyways. But my pop of the week.
Byron, I need that. I need a champagne popping effect. I need boop,
Yeah.
like dishes crashing sound effect for the drops, and then like a boop for the pop.
For the pop of the week, I'm going to do a screenshot of Conan tweeting the pop emoji.
Okay, I'm fine.
All right.
I think I'm good with that.
No, we'll get sued by
Oh,
K100.
Bro. My pop of the week is the John Cena and Dominick Mysterio match, but it's not because of the match itself. I love the match. I love that he's a champion, but I think the rub that Homeboy got, that Dominic got, it's amazing. But also, this opens a huge opportunity for the Mega Championship and for AAA. I was going to speak Spanish. Immediately, AAA, and it was, porque en ese momento, I don't know why. I think it opens a great opportunity because now there's something that you said, Justin. I think it was like 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. It's like, oh wait, so your champion, it's the mid card champion in the other company, but now we don't have that. So, and then we had the reaction of Dominic going in the back and just like, where is the Judgment Day? I'm like, I don't know, man.
But
that
he's
thing
still
died, like,
carrying that Mega Championship through that whole scene.
yes.
And now he's got to put the emphasis on that belt. You're right. It's a good thing.
It's a great opportunity to make it look better. Just change the fucking title, for the love of God. And I think that this will allow him to, I don't know, do a lot more things in AAA and, walk around with that. My Luchador King. And I just, I was remembering when he first came in, we start working. I was like, he used to look so green and everything.
It's so bad that first couple
it was
years.
so bad.
It was like, this is never gonna work.
Yeah, and he's so fit right now. The way he was, right next to John Cena, which is like ultimate, wrestler. The way it with Triple H there, he got the promo. He made everybody hate. I just loved it. That's what I'm wearing the San Diego hat today. Well, that in because
repping that 619. Well, I mean, Thunder even mentioned it last week too. Like when Ray came to Lucha Underground with Dominic, I got to meet Dom. I think a few of us did. He was this tall, fat kid.
Yeah.
And Ray was trying to push him, and everybody was kind of like, oh shit, it's Rey Mysterio. How do I tell him that there's no fucking way I'm ever gonna wrestle his shitty ass kid? Like, nobody, you could just see it on everyone's faces, like, oh God, Ray, I'm so sorry. Like, your kid is not ever gonna be it, bro.
I didn't want to get into the bodyweight part because I have my own struggles with that, but
I know.
But
I mean, he's
even
great.
the physical transformation that he has gone to, whatever. But it's just it makes me happy. Do I wish he was born in Tijuana? Of course, yeah. But I feel in a good place on that regards for AAA and for Lucha Libre. Even though, I already made my complaints last week about Ethan and your homegirl winning and all that shit. But I feel in a good place on that. I feel that it will bring AAA and the championship to like a higher level, because I don't know who's going to want to challenge it. I don't know, like, the whole point of the whole idea that he might have to prove something now that he has lost to John Cena because he talks so much shit, he lost the title. I mean, let's just put that it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna build on something that is gonna be worth watching for a couple of years. So hopefully we'll get to see that. But my question now is, who's gonna step up to Dominic? Who in AAA is gonna step Dominic? Because of course
I'll do it.
No, let's not.
I can get him.
No.
Well, it depends on
Yo
how
soy
long
Mexico. I will be the champ.
It depends on how long Dom can stay at heel. I mean, in Mexico right now, he's a technico.
No, yeah. Oh no. We love him. Yeah,
Oh,
but
So
then
it's
again,
it's like it almost makes it difficult. Like if you put La Parca, new La Parca Trace, whatever in there.
no, it's just La Parca. Like they did
Right, I
not even
know.
acknowledge
Just-
anything
we don't
else.
acknowledge that there's
This is
ever been
it.
anyone different, even though he's
Yeah,
like
this is a
6'4"
reboot, like a clean
and
reboot,
skinny.
like Halloween in the mid 2000s.
But like, do you put him in there? Do you put
I would,
son of
but
the
not
son
to
of
win.
the doctor's son junior in there? Do you put like, because you're gonna kill one of those guys if you do it. That's the problem. You got to find a way to build something that doesn't
No,
kill the AAA star that you need to make off of Dominic. And
Well-
right now the problem is it's just gonna kill whoever he's against.
I don't think that. I don't think so. I but the obviously the build up is Penta, because every time they don't even have to be in the same conversation, but somebody to bring them up, and then Penta will curse him out. Like he does interviews in Spanish in Mexico, and for no reason he brings Dominic into the conversation. There is no need for it. There's no need for it, and he brings him out. So I know that that's where they want to take these two. I don't know if that's with the belt involved, right?
Well, I mean, it's like you look at what eventually has to happen with Dominic. Eventually, he has to be the one to retire his dad, right? I mean, that's
Of course.
that's the big storyline that eventually we have to get to with them.
Yes.
And Daniel, I think that's right that El Grande Americano might be the correct solution to this problem, but right now they're both occupying kind of the same space in the public opinion, which makes it difficult, and you don't
You
want to
could not
burn
have him-
that goodwill off.
Not
either.
in Mexico, at least.
Right.
It might be a different situation in Raw, but here you will create a problem.
And if you
will
really
create a
flip Dominic
equal-
babyface, maybe you can do something.
Yeah.
But you have to heal El Grande Americano, which is just not going to work right now in Mexico
Well,
either. So
Yeah, because then you will create an Hijo del Vikingo situation again.
right,
Isn't he heel now?
Vikingo.
They turned him, I thought.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know how to do it.
He's not, but he's like such a natural baby face. Like he's just in a bad spot. They just need to cool his ass off
bad
for a while.
Like, just put on a suit and then like talk back to the people. That's not how this works, man. Somebody. Anyways, but okay. So trying to figure out. I'm sure they will. I don't think they fuck it up. I don't think that triple. I'm sorry, I'm just cursing so much. I don't think that AAA will just mess it up that much. I think they, and you are correct. More than La Parca, I think hijo del sobrino del tío del Dr. Wagner.
Yeah, the kid of my
I think-
mother's kid and my father's uncle. Yeah, that
Yes, I think he will be. He should be the chosen one. But how do you do it? It's gonna be very complicated. I think. I think right now, just let him destroy a couple of people in Mexico City, build them up, bring some. But if you're gonna bring, you have to bring them over here. You have to bring Dr. Wagner Hijo Junior. Jesus, that's so complicated. We need to find an easier American version for that. You have to bring him not to NXT but to Raw.
And they got to figure out how to make him not this over tweener Rudo. Because it's killing them, because like he could be facing a bunch of clowns right now and just building some stuff up, but how do you do that? You can't kill Iguana with him. You can't put anyone against him right now because nothing makes sense, because he's so over, but he's also a Rudo. It's really a difficult spot that they've gotten themselves into, but maybe a good one. Maybe it's fortunate, and maybe you just accept the reaction for whatever it is. You just book it like you book it. Book him as a heel, put him in there with Psycho Clown, let him do a big couple of matches or something, and let him win, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Well, yeah, you just need to have him attack Dominic in I don't know. You do it in Tijuana. You do a show in Tijuana. You used to do Tijuana, Monterrey, Mexico City. You do one of those. You have him just beat the hell out of him, and then you have him win as a bad guy. Whatever. It's just that happens all the time.
I think it'd be interesting.
But I think that will be the
good pop of the week, though. Byron, do you have a drop? Because I'm about to unleash on my drop.
I mean, I have a drop with like stuff going on in the world. I don't think we
Life?
want to bring up
No.
uh
You are
stuff
looking
that
a little hangmanish today. Is this
stuff that
Are you going to speak
Congress
Spanish for the next 30 minutes?
tengo una problema
No, stop, please.
con
You're hurting me.
los.
You heard me.
What? Am I
Go back
speaking
to
too fast?
you. Go back to Georgia, please.
Too rapido. My Spanish is so
Tito.
bad.
That's terrible.
I
That was
guess
really
my
bad.
food spit in Taco Bell's. It's so bad in my
Oh
Spanish.
god.
No, I'm fine.
All right.
Nothing upset me in the world of wrestling.
I'm going to tell you what really, really upset me this week in wrestling. I'm going to tell you why I am furious with the WWE. I'm going to tell you why they stepped in it this time, and I hope it cost them millions. What the hell are you kicking Westside Gunn out of your show for? Why
so
are
dumb.
you threatening this guy? It doesn't make any sense. Don't get me wrong. I don't necessarily like everything that Westside Gunn does. Whatever. But at the same time, they have to understand he's a real one. Like, this dude puts his own time and money into wrestling left and right. Okay, he might be a little bit of an idiot here and there, but who cares? People in the culture, real black folks, not the white kids that like whatever fiend crap is going on. Like, actual black people respect Westside Gunn. He has done a lot for the culture to respect WWE and wrestling in general. He supports indie shows. He supports AEW talent. He supports WWE talent. He buys his own $3,000 front row tickets to all these damn shows he goes to. There is no reason to be kicking. He raps about your talent in his songs and makes it culturally relevant. Okay. Is there also some drug use in those songs? Some other gangster shit that's talked about? Absolutely. But he's still making you relevant. You let Tony Hinchcliffe sit ringside and he's offended half of the country. You know, Westside Gunn's only offended maybe 7% of the country. And this is the guy you're kicking out? It's flat out racism. I'm starting to believe that Triple H maybe really doesn't like black people. Like, where's Bobby Lashley? How come he's not still a champion there? That makes absolutely no sense because he was a bargain price-wise compared to a lot of these other guys, and he was popping all of your house shows. You were using him to close out the night. What happened? How come Bobby's not there anymore? Did he get kicked out like Westside Gunn? What about Shelton Benjamin that you told us for all these years was from Minnesota because that's where white guys wrestle and it gives him credibility? No, that nigga is from Orangeburg, South Carolina. He is country. He real black people. Why is he no longer employed at the WWE? What the hell is going on? I'm furious. I'm pissed. I don't understand it. I love wrestling, but I don't know if wrestling loves me. What is wrong with you, WWE? You cannot keep doing this to your black fans, to your black audience. We're here. We're paying the money. We're watching your programming. We want to see our talent in a certain light. And I don't think you have any problem with the black women. I think all you thirsty white dudes want the black women on your shows, but the brothers, why can't we get over? What is going on over there? What's happening?
Why did New Day? They had so much invested in New Day, did a big heel turn spot, and then
we put Grayson Waller in the group. That's what the and then is. That's where we're at right now, and it's only under this regime. And do I think it's happening at NXT? No. We got Obafemi down there. We got Trick. We got Javon. Like, NXT black as hell. But main roster, I don't know what's going on. And I really, really would love to get a public statement from the WWE on what exactly it was that Westside Gunn did to piss somebody off. Like, what did he bring a bad 8-ball in the back? Did somebody get some bad nose candy from the guy? What happened?
What was so we don't know. They just scored him out.
They escorted him out, and he is heated, and he put it all on blast. Like, they sent him threats about, cease and desist orders about some of his material and songs, and that he was not coming back.
That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. That's First Amendment, motherfuckers. Anyways,
and he's promoting your company. Like, this is a dude who is really hell bent, for better or worse, on giving wrestling the rub, and most especially WWE. He puts WWE higher than the other stuff, but he helps out on the indies. He helps out a lot of black wrestlers. He helps out AEW talent. Like, the dude is down for the cause. What could have possibly happened that this guy has just been thrown out by the biggest company? What does that serve?
It's just symptomatic of what's going on with your nation. So,
Maybe,
I'm sorry.
look,
I'm sorry.
maybe
I
the
know
boss
Byron
is-
wants us. I know Byron knows. I don't want to incite anything on Byron right now, but I think that is just symptomatic of what's going on, man.
Maybe.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bring it out like that because I'm an outsider. Forcibly an outsider. So
but I think it's a lot more obvious what's going on inside our country to people outside the country. I think if you talk to
evidently,
foreigners,
yes.
then they can have their own different beliefs, political beliefs, whatever, but they all have a pretty clear, consistent view of what is happening here. And but I wasn't going to get into my drops, so I'm not going to talk about.
Just as a comment, I know there is a moment in the interview that you guys are gonna watch when I mentioned something about Simon Miller's and myself's chat that nobody can see. That's because there is a lot of views there that will not allow him to enter the country. So,
oh yeah, you're like, they check cell phones.
they check cell phones. Yeah,
Right.
You need to have a burner phone on you when you get off the plane.
Yeah.
And you have the real phone. Either you leave it at home, or you put it like in your sock or something.
You can't do what you used to do and just switch that SIM card out, like put it in a little baggie in your toothpaste.
You don't want them logging into your socials.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably, when you do the visa, they probably scan everything.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to do my drops. So,
speaking of Simon Miller, I think it's about that time. Let these people enjoy some Simon Miller. The guy is a mensch, super fun, and he's got a lot to say. So without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Simon Miller. So we are joined now by, I don't know how you want to describe this guy. I know how I want to describe this guy. I'm saying I don't know if you guys know how you want to describe this guy. So maybe I shouldn't do it at all. Maybe I'll let him do it himself. This is our friend from across the pond, and not Meatloaf. We actually have more than one friend across the pond, believe it or not. No, Meatloaf is our friend, Tony. Don't laugh at that. Meatloaf
God, I didn't mean it like that. I meant that he's not here.
Okay,
wow,
yeah.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. I'll let you guys figure that
Byron.
out, man. That's a whole
We got to stay on topic,
thing I'm
Tony.
not getting into. Anyway, welcome to the MMM show. Our friend Simon Miller. And Simon, I know you've got a ton going on. The way I've done these interviews in the past, I totally want to get into your backstory. I got to hear how you got into this whole crazy world, because, like, why are you here? Should you be in this crazy world?
No,
I don't
probably not.
know.
I snuck in and no one's realized yet. I'm waiting to be kicked back out. But so far, nobody's picked up on it.
But I got to tell you, so Simon is one of those guys. I had wonderful conversations with him backstage at the last match in Vegas during WrestleMania week. We hit it off instantly. We talked for like 2 hours about all sorts of nonsense, mostly wrestling stuff. And somehow this guy has a very similar take on a lot of things to me, which makes him just a cracked egg. But great dude. And I was thinking to myself, God, like, how does somebody like this defy kayfabe in this day and age? Like, I didn't know whether he was a shoot, whether he was a work, whether he's the heel all the time, if it's an act, the stuff that he does online, if he's really poking fun and having a laugh, or if he's dead serious. He's walking this fine line, people, that is just pure entertainment. So that being said, Simon, I'm going to start this interview at the end instead of at the beginning. What do you want your legacy to be in the world of professional wrestling? Deal with that question.
So actually, I thought that was going to be quite hard. And then my brain threw an answer at me straight away. So if it all ended tomorrow and for some reason I vanished off this mortal coil, I think it would be great if when people were discussing me, they were like, that was the nice guy of wrestling. That was a nice, positive dude that just tried to bring happiness and joy and goofiness and fun into what can be a very negative and angry and yelling space. I think if somehow I could don that cloak and somebody could put that hat on my head, yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever set out to be that guy, but I think I've somehow fallen into that niche, I suppose, just by sort of being my honest, true self, I guess, and being transparent as possible. Finding out, there can be an audience for this. You don't have to just grift and lie and make stuff up in order to be successful. So yeah, if I could, if somebody, even if one person said he just made me laugh once a week, I'd be like, you know what, that's all right. I'll take it. That's pretty good. Be that in the ring or out the ring, because either way, as long as I gave you something that made the world feel just a teeny little bit better, I would be a proud dude.
That's fair. I think that's a very fair assessment. So are you a babyface or a heel?
Well, it all depends now, doesn't it? I mean, if somebody went to the Last Match musical as of WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure they'd
that was very fun.
Category, which is actually one of my favorite things to do. So maybe I just told a big old lie. But no, I would argue that I would say, can I break this down into percentages? I would say 75% of the time, I'm a pretty old school, classic baby face, big smile, happy-go-lucky guy. But then, yeah, I've always said you have to have both sides down, right, in the world of wrestling, because you don't know what opportunity is around the corner. You can't just be one of them, because then somebody will offer you the other one. You won't know what to do. You'll be like, oh, man. So, yeah, sometimes I just tread the line. But no, I think mostly I'd be a baby face. I think most people would say that, but that's fine.
I think as a person, he's a babyface. If you allow me, and I will probably share this. I think it was like a couple of weeks ago that we were like just talking, texting. It was just, and then he edited, like not edit. He censored his cursing in a private text between us.
That's right.
Like,
that's right. That's right.
I will show you guys if he allows me to. I will.
That's right.
Yeah, I will just show that. And I just went like, really, bro? Like, really? It's just you and me on a private text. Who are you playing for, man?
Cody Rhodes doesn't even do that, and he's QB1.
No, I do. I censor it all online on my text messages. Hey, man, it's more than a gimmick, right? You got to believe. You got to believe in the stances that we make. So, yeah, no, I did do that. Even though I found that was quite funny. The reaction was very easy.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was.
That's great.
Hilarious. Especially because, like, for me, it was like 3 a.m. in the morning. So, yeah.
So I'm not going to classify you by your age, but I'm going to say that wrestling didn't come early for you, right? Like how did you get into this world in the first damn place?
So, yeah, I mean, shout out to the websites on the internet that have me at like 42 years old. Appreciate that. Just made it up one day. It's not true in any sense, but it's awful when you're in wrestling. No, you can't listen to that. That's like the death mail, or it used to be back in the day.
What's wrong about 42? I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, if it was true, it'd be fine.
I mean, if you look at the WWE roster right now, that might be the sweet spot. Like, don't knock it yet.
I'm ready to go.
Main eventer.
But no, so in terms of how I stepped into the ring kind of stuff, I've been doing YouTube stuff, man, probably since like 2011. Before YouTube even blew up, I just stumbled across it. This is when PewDiePie was still finding his way.
Oh, yeah.
And PewDiePie has now had his run and now just lives in Japan, doesn't make videos anymore. So he's kind of gone the whole hog. And I started doing video games just because I was working in video games. And obviously YouTube was a video game platform at one point, right? It was all just people playing games and reviewing them and stuff. I did that for a few years, sort of found a niche, and then it was just one of those things. I was like, well, if I can do it for games, why can't I do it for wrestling? And when I made the jump across, I think I tried twice to actually break into wrestling. The first time I tried, I come across a very old school trainer who, I mean, listen, if wrestling was still what it was like in the 80s, I would not be a wrestler right now. I learned that very quickly. It was just
You're not a body guy? What do you mean?
Well, that was true, actually. Yeah, that's true. I could sneak in that way. But in terms of the training, he just wanted to kill you. And not in a fun way, because, man, I like being pushed. I like being challenged. I like, push. I like to see what are my limits. But this was, I've broken my back. It's a true story. I screwed up my back. I could barely stand up. And we spent the rest of the training session doing 619s. That's what he had us doing, to the point. And I would call him quite manipulative emotionally. So I was like, if that's what it is, I'll knock it on the head. But as we all know, when you're passionate about something, it still gnaws away in the back of your skull. So I then tried again a few years later, and I can't even remember what happened to that one. I think just life got in the way. So when I jumped across to start making wrestling content, and people started to offer me work, like, oh, do you want to come review Raw and SmackDown? I just felt completely, what's what I'm even looking for? It just felt wrong to me to be reviewing wrestling shows without at least going to a few training sessions and at least having a match, right? So you could get the full circle of what's going on. I thought you're not educated enough to do this. That was how
I have no problem with that. Like,
no, you're a step better than me. I've run the ropes. I've done a couple of the classes. I've, done my kip ups and whatnot, but I have never had an actual match, nor will I. I don't think it's something that should be mandatory.
Right. That's just what my brain said. My brain
said, take a bump, but like go out there and take a bump before you criticize a bump. That's right. Just what is it? I'd done bumps at that point, but that was years prior. So I thought you should go and run the gambit, just push it all the way through, have a match, and then you sort of ticked all those boxes. And because I sort of had that, it's like when you have a personal trainer, I sort of had that accountability then, because I was talking about it on these YouTube videos and I was doing it. So I was like, you can't, even if you want to, you really can't quit. You're really going to have to see this through. And then I debuted in a Rumble, and I just had the best time of my life. I mean, I was terrible, but I had the best time of my life. And it was just, it's like everybody says, right? You get the drug, it plants the seeds, and you can't not do it. And because I continued making the videos, it was like you just said, you sold it perfectly when you were talking about this weird line that you kind of walk between both. And everybody always said to me, when you get into wrestling, you have to offer something new. And I was like, I don't think anyone's done this before, so I'll be this guy. I'll be this guy that does it, but then reviews it as well. And then, that was sort of, however long ago it was. And here we are. It seemed to hit somewhat of a note, and I've just tried to ride it out as best I possibly can. But obviously I was very, very lucky in the sense I was, working for a company that had WCPW in the United Kingdom. So they were like, you want to be on the show, Simon? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. Why would I say no? If anyone is watching, I would never advise you to debut on a show that streamed to, hundreds of thousands of people at that time. That's a terrible idea, because I went to throw the worst clotheslines of all time, because of course I did. When you have your first match, you go back to square one and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a whole new learning curve. But also we don't say no to opportunities. So and then from there it was great. The whole thing was great. I still remember asking someone who laughed at me because I didn't know any different. Like, do I just have to work here? Like, can I go get other bookings elsewhere? And they were like, of course you can. Like, it's not WWE. I was like, oh great, I can go do that, can I? But like, you haven't signed a multi-year contract yet.
Exactly.
They're not paying me a lot of money, so you should probably do that. But when you don't know, you don't understand what's the protocol, what's the politics. Am I going to annoy someone? So it's been a really fun time. I have enjoyed it immensely.
I'm going to ask, it's completely out of line, but what was the first paycheck?
It was 50 quid.
50 quid.
No, it was 50 quid because that was that. But the first one, what WCPW was a lot higher than other places. The first one I did outside of the walls was the equivalent of about $15,
right?
And they gave me
a lollipop, and you're good.
Yeah, and they gave me a pack of candy as well. $15 and a bag of sweets, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you very much."
Well, I don't think you've had it as bad as some of these kids coming up,
absolutely
like where you're being robbed by a wrestling school and then getting paid $50 for a death match and whatnot. Like, you hear some of these sports stories.
Do I even have to tell you about Mexico? So
no, please don't. October's over. I've watched all the horror movies. I just heard. I'm not. I will tell you guys off the air, but it was like, why would you even start wrestling if that happens to you? I'll tell you. It was scary, man. So the content. I'm very interested in. We're all creating content in some fashion in this space, and everyone has a slightly different take on it. Like, we came into it because we just like chopping it up, and we knew a lot of the people that worked at Lucha Underground, because Byron and I are both TV producers, and everybody who worked on Lucha Underground were other reality TV people. So we knew half these guys. And it just kind of brought us into this world that we had always loved. But like, what was the goal content wise when you were doing it? Was it to support wrestling? Was it just to have a laugh? Like, I know you've done a ton of stuff on your own and with What Culture and here and there. And it's like, but you've become this expert content creator in this space. and you've invented it yourself. So, like, what was the goal? What were you planning, and have you accomplished it? Does it work for you? Do you want to see it evolve? Like, what's the deal with the content?
Yeah, what was the goal? I don't know, really. I took it very day by day, I suppose. Like I say, I got into doing YouTube because I thought YouTube was cool. Then I found gaming YouTube. So that I went to work for a company that was big into gaming YouTube, and that was cool. And then when that sort of ran its course over a couple of years, I was like, what do I really love? I was like, wrestling is my biggest passion. So I just kind of started doing it. I think probably my goal was, if you're a 10-year-old kid now growing up, you just want to be a massive YouTuber, I guess. But I guess given the generation I grew up in, it wasn't, I want my YouTube content to blow up so I can be a famous YouTuber. It was, no, I like this, and it would be great if I could develop an audience because then I can keep doing it. I think that was my major goal. It was like, if I can actually have a platform with people that actually care what I think, this could be my job. That sounds absolutely fantastic. And then, because I go into everything seeing it as you would, I've always seen it as it's your own business, right? If you're a YouTuber, your brand is you, your company is you. So I sat there, I did my due diligence. I watched a bunch of YouTubers. I was like, these are a bunch of negative, sad, angry people, which they're allowed to be. People seem to get this wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But for me, I was like, okay, I don't really want to talk about wrestling that way. When it's bad, I'd rather have fun with it. I'd rather laugh at it. You know what I mean?
He almost said take the piss. For the note, just for the record, he almost said take the piss. He almost did it. I'm watching, Tony. I got him.
Well, he does say asshole all the time on his that's part of his thing, right?
The asshole's
he does say that.
Good.
Yeah,
but it's like,
but that's like self-deprecating kind of a thing, right? Like, he's like, I'm just a bold asshole. So yeah.
But I can't say piss anymore because there's too many TikTok videos of like Americans in Britain going, man, they say piss for everything. And I'm like, man, I got to stop saying piss. I've got to reduce the word I say it. But no, I wanted to have fun with it. Like, again, even in 2019, which I think is one of the worst years ever for WWE, I was like, this is a gold mine. This is just like constant sketch material that I can use. But yeah, after I'd watched all of that stuff, I was like, Simon, it's not how you watch wrestling. I'd rather put out, more of a happy-go-lucky message. I thought, great, that can be the hill that we die on. We'll be that guy. And it's funny you just brought up the bored asshole thing because people hated it at first. They hated it. And that was what everyone said to me. Who is this bored asshole that seems to like everything with wrestling? And I was like, well, you're not listening to what I'm saying, but I get it. It's the internet. And then one day I was like, well, I should just call myself the bored asshole. Then they're totally screwed. So I did. I started opening videos going, Simon Miller, the bored asshole. And you saw the comments lessen. To be fair, they got worse. They started to use more colorful language. But that kind of worked in me too, because I think it taught me, this is going to sound way over the top, but it is true. YouTube and wrestling aren't that far apart. So I started calling myself the bored asshole. All of a sudden, that became something I could wear as a nickname, and you could merchandise it. And I was like, okay, sweet, I'll do that. And I started bringing in all these other things, and that's when I actually started wrestling too. I was like, these aren't that far apart at all. One can support the other, and then vice versa. And you can build. It's the equivalent of sort of like recording a promo, putting it on social media, and hoping that it blows up. I was like, I can do all this here. Like, I have this sort of mini platform that I can try and use to actually, to bolster other things. That's kind of what happened. That's kind of what happened. Like, to this day, people still come to my matches and they say, I just wanted to come and say, I watch your content, I really enjoy it. And you're like, well, that's absolutely ridiculous, but thank you very much. That's the coolest thing you could possibly say. So when I realized there was a symbiotic relationship, to use the proper term, I was like, let's lead into this. Let's go all the way. And then, yeah, I think it got more fun when I realized you could connect the two.
Simon, I got to ask you a question real quick. Who is this guy? What is this?
Oh my God.
And why you keep posting that?
What?
It does numbers, Tony.
Are you related to Scott Stapp? Is Scott Stapp your cousin? What is happening here?
So this, honestly, man, if Mother Nature hadn't come and whooped my ass, that's what I'd look like right now. I love that hair. I love that hair. As a man that grew up listening to metal music, that was my one. It was a bit like wrestling. I tried.
You could have been Shawn Michaels.
I know. Well, I don't know about that. Have you seen my matches more?
Well, okay. fair point. Yes, I have.
His career.
I loved that haircut, and then I did it all the time. I used to wear it in a top knot, right? Because I'm
really Shawn Michaels at Crown Jewel, so yeah.
I'll be that. Okay, I used to wear it in a top knot, and I was in an elevator where you had all those, an elevator where you have all the mirrors around, and it created the perfect effect. And I just saw a big hole here. I was like, Simon, you got to cut it off. And I was devastated. I was so sad. But then you get over it, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. But I miss that guy. Love that guy. I'll bring that guy back tomorrow if I could.
Well, I mean, that guy could definitely be a baby face with the golden locks and, taking all the selling for hours and just bleeding into it and, bleach blonding it and all those glorious Flair-esque things. You could have been a Von Erich, man. You could have been a Von Erich.
I could have been. And yet,
well,
here we
no,
are.
You wouldn't be here if you were a Von Erich. So let's.
Would you want to?
I know,
probably
right?
a bad end for me if that does happen.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad ending. Yeah.
I mean, I just got to say this because I rewatched the movie the other day. They cut an entire brother out of the movie because so many of them died.
Yeah.
The movie got too tragic that they had to cut an entire brother out of it.
They merge him. They merge the stories into just an individual.
They put like
that.
5
That's
cousins
insane.
into like one shot of MJF, and that was
Whose family's life is so bad that an entire brother dying has to be taken out of the feature film version. That's horrifying.
Yeah, the whole movie it kills me. Well, it kills everyone else as well, but it's horrible. It's a horrific. It's a horrific movie.
It kills.
A friend of mine went to see that thinking it was going to be like wrestling's version of Friday Night Lights.
Oh no!
And he got hit hard.
That's terrible.
No, so
oh, dear.
my girlfriend walked, and I was watching right the end when I think it's when he's like carrying his brother that part, and I was like, oh my god! And she's like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? I'm like, no, this movie just too hard.
It's just too much. You can't take it.
I can't do
It really
movie.
is too much.
Okay, so on the fun side of things, let's talk about Brit Res. Can we call it Brit Res? Is that what people actually
still call that to this day? Yes.
It's just the indies over here. But what is different about Brit Res compared to what we call the indies over here? Because it seems oddly unique. Like I was just watching some of the stuff that you've done with Riot, and I've seen some of the other things that you've done, and it's like,
well, Riot's a whole thing by itself.
well, yeah, it is, but it's fun. It's cheeky. It's cheeky. Can I say cheeky? It's fun. Like, and there's a certain thing, and don't get me wrong, there's a whole section of Brit Rest that's very, very serious, very Walter, very,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And that's the other end of it too, and I guess Japan kind of has that. You can have DDT one day, and then it's Noah Pro, where these guys are like superheroes or something the next day. But describe it, what your experience is like over across the pond, and why haven't you packed it up and just come over here? Is it really that grand?
So I actually think Japan, now you've said it, this is a moment I'm having right now live. I think it's quite similar because you can go to a show one weekend that will be 2 people kicking each other's ass. Very intense, very sort of hardcore wrestling, or actually not hardcore in the figurative sense. And the next day you can go to, a show that will be in front of 150 sort of, kids, old people, families, and just do really silly. You can slam a guy and everyone go, wow, amazing. And then you can do the shows like Riot Cabaret that are more like a pantomime over here. Or, they kind of balance. They're more of a variety show. So you will get your bangers, to use the stupid 2025 word, but they'll also do full-on DDT type comedy matches that I think are genuinely very funny. Like, they put a lot of time and money into them. So it's not like you do a comedy spot. They will build videos in and they'll get special guests.
No, they did a whole match on a boat, and not a big boat.
I wanted to get to that. Yes, that I was there. I was there for it. So it was
for the boat match.
Yes, I was. We were backstage.
That's why I love Riot Cabaret, because they will message me saying, Simon, do you want to be a special guest referee on a boat? I'm like, I do want to do that, yes. And then they go, Simon, do you want to be part of a murder mystery? Yes, yes, I do.
Oh, that's right. You guys shot somebody this last week.
I got off. I was accused. I won the match and proved my innocence. Okay, I didn't shoot anybody. So.
I don't know.
And you revealed the actual shooter to be
Mr. Blobby, which is a very UK favorite. A lot of US people don't know who Mr. Blobby, and nor should you. So.
Well, Thunder Rosa sang with him last year, so yeah,
that's true. What a moment!
Yeah, that was the craziest moment.
It's so awesome that you can, it's not as popular is the right word. It's not as internet popular as it was in 2016. With the Pete Dunnes and the Mustache Mountains and the Walter the Gunthers, etc. However, it still has this wonderful niche where you can work in front of 200 people. And you can work in front of 1,000 people, depending on the shows that you're working for. And really, I kind of balance my time. So end of last year, Well, actually, all of last year, I would say I was in America 50% of the time, and I was in England 50% of the time, and it was awesome. The issue being this year, travel prices went through the roof. That was the issue. Otherwise, I would have done loads more this year, but it just wasn't financially viable, which sucked because I loved, especially the last 6 months of 2024 was awesome. Every weekend going somewhere new. It was, oh, wow, this is the real wrestling lifestyle. And I was getting a real kick out of it. But that was okay this year because actually I was able to sort of double down on the UK scene. And it, benefited me in some ways because I had more time to put into different promotions. Then you elevated yourself that way. So it's never really been a sort of a grand plan. It's more been what opportunities are on the table. Again, I got my US visa for a good few more years still. So hopefully next year things calm down and we can. I think I should be in America in January. I think.
Now they check your phone every time you cross. So be careful with that.
Wow. Yeah. But my goal is just to always take any opportunities and obviously then deal with real life on life's terms as well. But I will say to anybody, like, I think more and more people are now finally coming back to British wrestling and realize even if you work some crazy sports hall in front of 150 people, it's a different kind of a crowd. And you have to figure out how do I appeal to these people? Because there are genuinely British crowds where you can do your fast-paced indie match. They're like, I don't know what is going on. Whereas if you give a guy a suplex, they're like, he gave him a suplex. It's great. Like, you really can change how you work every single weekend. So you learn, right? And that's how you get better, sort of understanding what a crowd actually wants.
Well, okay. So speaking of what a crowd actually wants, Paul Robinson, we got to talk about this for a minute. You really, really upset the apple cart. Is that a saying in England?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This man had that belt for he had the progress belt for like, I don't know, 1,800 something days, right? Like 1,800 days.
Years. Yeah, so like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And Simon just kind of strolls in like, no, that's mine, mate.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. That's pretty much what happened.
How does something like that come about where all of a sudden you're that guy?
So it's one of those wonderful wrestling stories because Progress, which are, I always say Progress and Red Pro are still the two biggest promotions in the country. In terms, especially from a worldwide point of view, that's what people see it. So Progress have their big yearly tournament, the Super Strong Style, classic wrestling, winner gets a shot at the title. And it was the first time I'd been put in Super Strong Style. And actually, this has come off the back of the last match tour when we went on our before we did the thing at WrestleMania, sort of the official tour the year before. And I got hurt really, really bad. Like, I worked the last sort of 3 weeks of that tour. I just gritted my teeth and worked through it because I'm not going to give this up. I really sort of screwed up my shoulder. And I was going to do Super Strong Style anyway. But after sitting down and talking to everyone and seeing a physio when I was back here, they were like, this is a terrible idea. I remember my physio said to me, sorry?
So this is the worst thing you could possibly do right now.
They said, you're so lucky. They were like, what's basically happened here is every single one of your shoulder tendons is hanging on by a thread. Like, you're so lucky that not one has gone. But if you just chill out for 6 weeks or 2 months, it will be okay. So we decided, okay, we're not going to do it. I came out, I wasn't even cutting a promo. I talked from the heart. I was very upset about this. And I think in that moment, we kind of created this sympathy, I suppose, which is what you want as a babyface. Everyone genuinely, I think, realized what I was saying was from the heart. So when I started getting back into it, Progress said to me, we've come up with this idea. You're going to win a couple of matches. You're going to challenge Paul. Obviously, no one's going to think you're going to do it because that just wasn't my place at the time.
I love you, Simon. I was like, what? He won what?
No, it's true.
You kidding me?
I was still finding my way in Progress, right? I just was. There's no shame in it at all. And basically, the idea is
won literally like I think two matches, right?
Oh yeah. So my first year in Progress, I went 0-5. I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Terrible. It was, and I was in some tags, which was like multi tags, so I didn't win or lose. But yeah, in terms of matches where I had a stake in the ending, I went 0-5, which is actually one feud was my idea. That's a different story for a different day.
I literally thought to myself, when the fuck did Simon Miller win the lottery and bribe all these people and I haven't heard about it? How is this possible?
But that's what it was. They wanted to do something with that belt and they decided the most interesting, cool thing they could do, especially because obviously Progress is that company that sort of focuses very much on intense wrestling and they wanted to have a bit more fun with their card. So they were like, who can we put this belt on that can have his own sort of little, I don't know, place on every single event where it feels different? I'm going to give it to Simon, because Simon, obviously, I'll do anything. I have no shame, so that we can do more fun stuff. We can do some goofy stipulations. We can try and bring, it wasn't comedy matches, but just lose the worst term ever. Bring a little bit of sports entertainment into
No, it really was. It was
Yeah.
a great little run there until you dropped it to an actor, but we won't get into that part.
It's a very nice
But it
guy.
was like a great fun little run of bringing something different to Brit Rest. And I feel like over here in the States, it's part of what you're known for now. It's not just the internet content. A lot of it is like, oh no, he was that funny British champ guy. That was so much fun. Like, you get credit for that over here.
A lot of people bring it up to me, which super surprised me. Like when I started doing, because that was like October, and then sort of November, December, January, I was really sort of over there a lot. And so many people came up to me and said, "Oh yeah, congrats on winning that title." I was like, "You know about this?" Because I'm an idiot. But it really, really surprised me. And what it did do, again, people like to laugh about belts, but I've seen it happen firsthand. It legitimized me. He won a belt in Progress. He must be doing something right. And then all of a sudden, it opened up all these doors to other opportunities and stuff. So yeah, easily the best thing that sort of happened to be at wrestling up to that point. It was great. Like all of a sudden, I could still be the same person, but again, there was a legitimacy to me that I was able to lean into and have more fun with, and especially on Progress now. Like I'm just a member of the roster. It's not a weird the YouTube guy. No, it's just Simon's part of the roster. So it really helped. It really was good.
I think now people do look at you as you're a wrestler who does content, and back before that, they looked at you as a guy who does content who sometimes wrestles. And now I think it's the other way around, and I think it's specifically because of that belt.
I totally agree. I think that was the changing point. They were like, you must be taking this seriously to a point, because they're not going to put a belt on me because lol. Like that would be funny. They have to sort of have some faith in you. And
we're talking about a company that had no faith in anyone other than one guy for a really, really long time, which gave you even more legitimacy. You know, it's
sure.
You basically took a belt from England's Roman Reigns. Like, it was not a small thing.
Yeah, I remember it was the coolest thing, because when I won, you had that awesome moment when it was silent, because people were like, "Wait, what?" Like it was like, wasn't like a pop. It was wait. Like, and then they popped. So it was awesome. It was great. Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, because in all fairness to you, that wasn't what people paid that $30 for that night.
Yeah, that's true. They thought it just that's a fun.
They got their money's worth, but that's not how they thought they were going to get it, which is awesome. I wish wrestling was like that more often. Like,
me too.
People were all surprised about the Dom and Cena thing the other day, and it was like, you know what? Not terribly surprising to me. I felt like that was a 20% chance. I thought going into that day that there's a chance Dom comes out here, and I talked to a lot of smart people and listened to a lot of podcasts and whatnot. So I had a feeling that it was a possibility. I certainly didn't think it was a sure thing, but him dropping the bell was like, this is good. This is what I miss from wrestling. I want to see some things that just challenge me a little bit, that make me go, oh, where's this going to go? Is Dom going to get a rematch? Is that just it for Dom? Does he get it after Cena leaves and then drops the title back? Or, it starts to make you ask questions. And really, since Cody finished his story, I haven't felt a ton of questions in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about it?
No, I think you're right. I think there's been fun elements to it, but I would say, especially this year, it's been a bit easy to watch, but not directionless is too strong. But because the best thing about Cody's story was we know where we're going. Don't know when we're going to get there. Obviously, we had some fun with it. Whereas now it's sort of a bit like, where's this guy going to go? Don't really know. What's this guy going to do? The Seth Rollins thing certainly upset that too. That kind of threw that out the window. But no, that's why I loved the Cena Dom stuff. It was like, why not? Why can't we do it? Because there was some people that be like, well, you can't change the belt randomly. Of course you can. It's wrestling. You do whatever you want. Just make sure it works on that evening for the fans that are in the audience. And it was the best thing on Raw for ages. It made that whole episode fun and great. And I think all wrestling companies could do more of that, because what's the worst that happens? It sucks. All right. You literally have a show probably in 2 days where you can change it.
Change it again.
So much content. Just undo it.
I gotta say, and they had some gumption to do it the way that they did, because they did not announce that John Cena was going to wrestle in his hometown on this retirement tour. 3 appearances left on his entire deal, and they weren't a sellout, and they resisted the urge to announce that he was going to wrestle to get the sellout. Now, given they still made their money,
they don't need
you know,
money. They're good.
yeah, but look where TKO is at these days. It's like these guys really like a certain kind of thing. But
Each ticket is $10,000, so who cares?
I give them credit for saying John Cena will be there, and that was it. Like, take it or leave it. If you want to show up and have a good time, we got you. We'll give you some John Cena at home. That's all we're telling you. We're not telling you shit else. We're not saying that he's going to wrestle. We're not saying who, you know. And as soon as Dom's music hit, I was like, this works for me. This is cool.
Absolutely. And I think, again, like you say, let's just keep trying this stuff. You can't do it all the time because obviously it'll become the norm. But as and when it makes sense, or you have a moment like that, especially John Cena, hometown, 3 matches left. Last time he's going to wrestle in Boston, just do it. Just do. Everybody was so happy. I think people forget that wrestling's meant to make you happy. So if you can make people happy, just do it. Just pull the trigger.
I felt like there was, from the people who were already in WWE when TKO came in, I think the people who were already there took it as a chance to reset wrestling, to reinform the audience, because we're going out to a global market now. Netflix is everywhere. Everybody gets all this WWE content now, and it's like a re-education. So they just killed all these storylines on that first Monday Night Raw, and they're like, yeah, you know what? We'll follow it here. Let's just take it back. Like, this is good. We're just killing that. Let's kill this one over here. Let's reset. This is what a baby face is. We're going to erase the heels for a minute. Let's just establish all the baby faces. We're going to teach everybody what wrestling is from the get-go. And then we finally get to the Cena turn, and it's like, we're going to give you a big heel turn now. We're going to re-educate you. This is Andre the Giant turning and then facing Hulk Hogan. This is, Hulk Hogan turning and joining the NWO. We're going to give you one more of those. It failed after that, but the actual turn, it worked. It re-educated.
It was a great moment.
Yeah,
so good.
It just, there's a couple of chefs in that kitchen cooking up some stuff. It didn't quite pan out.
I bet Cena would have been such a great heel under any other circumstance.
Maybe.
No, longer period of time. Let it happen. I don't know. I thought that for a fan that, like, I mean, I did watch, the Stone Colds and the Rocks, but they Cena took over that whole part. When after that, I just stopped watching. But I thought that, they kind of always just do it right. I did like that he won the championship. I thought it was great. I that was the best thing. Yeah. And now maybe they can fix the mega championship, because I hate it. I hate the way.
Oh, you want Cena to be the champion of Mexico?
No, shut up. No, don't put that in the don't put that out there. No, I have enough with it.
Not a Boston guy.
No,
we'll cut that out.
No. Yeah, we'll. Yeah.
So I got to ask you one more thing, Simon, about yourself, and then I do want to talk about a couple other wrestling things, because you have the best takes on things. The last match, you got to explain this to people, because I did some stuff for Jeremiah, and I've helped out a little bit with that project off and on, and Thunder's helped out with that thing, and she's done a little bit of it, and Mickey James and a bunch of other people. You got to explain what the last match is for people. And who's better between you and Matt Cardona in that role, and why is it you?
Well, listen, Cardona and I have been trying to get that match booked for ages. So if any promoters are listening, I will pay my way to America for that match. All right, I'll figure it out. But me and Cardona have said book it, and we'll both be there, so we can finally find it out. So the last match, rock and roll wrestling musical, as it was originally called. I mean, it's the best way to call it. Yeah, it was sort of part. Well, it's a live theater show, Broadway, etc. In terms of those kind of things, and then you have a live rock and roll band, and then it's all about pro wrestling, and you have wrestling matches too, and it's a musical as well, which is really interesting. And I'll be honest, and I've told Jeremiah and Justin, the guy behind it, when they first sold it to me, I was like, this sounds insane. This is ridiculous. Even when I read the script, I was like, I don't understand how you're going to make this work. But as soon as you started rehearsing it, like, it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, it's absolutely brilliant. It's just the best. And for whatever reason, and thank goodness they did, because my gosh, I've never had so much fun in my life. Hence why Matt Cardona played it. The bad guy was a dude called Alexander Swagger. And they went, we think you can be this. It's wonderful, right? Like, you can be the proper stereotypical British bad guy. And there's all these theater shows where the British dude is the villain. And I appreciate their faith in me, because everyone had a script, but the only person that was allowed to break the fourth wall was that guy. So I just got to riff on people and cut promos. And I honestly had the time of my life doing that. I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it. It's like being a stand-up comedian, but all you did was handle hecklers. Like that's all you did is shut people down. So yeah, we took that on tour, and after a while, you realize the concept was awesome because what was happening, surprise, is wrestling fans would turn up, musical fans would turn up, theater fans would turn up because the songs are awesome, and because not me, don't get me wrong, because you had these incredibly powerful singers to sell that music, and you had the wrestling, and they were doing wrestling very easy to understand, big, high, flashy moves, which is what you want, and you have this really cool story about sort of this big hero Ben Vengeance about to retire. It's like it's like when you go to see Cats or Grease or even Book of Mormon, right? It's not hard to understand the story. It's very, very simple for that reason. And they managed to sort of get that feeling as well. So yeah, it was just this bizarre coming together of all these different genres. And when you actually see it in person and sort of got your head around, you're like, this is really fun. It was just so fun. We did it. We toured that for 3 months, I think it was, down the east side of America. And it never got old. It never got boring. It was just every night was fun and different, and it gave you something new. And then when you were there for Justin as well, we did a WrestleMania weekend. Exactly the same. Just energetic. I just
well, that was a blast too. You got to walk around, and you're like calling out Eric Bischoff and Ricochet and all these famous people that are just sitting there. And I'm like, and I'm filming a bunch of this stuff for some BTS stuff, and I'm just like, Simon, ease up, dude. What is going on? What is happening here? You're not even really a heel in real life.
That was my favorite thing in the sense that so many people came up to me afterwards and said, I did not expect that to come out of you. And I was
not
like,
at all.
The ultimate compliment. That is the ultimate compliment. And I like to think as well, and they could probably differ, that I found that nice fine line where you can say something somewhat, shocking, that's the right word, but something that got a reaction, but actually didn't get anybody that mad. Like it was all fun stuff. It's like, whoa, I can't believe. And I think we found that balance. So
still caught a lot of people off guard though. Don't forget, I saw you rehearsed it 10 times, and Simon's just kind of going off the script and like maybe throwing out a little one-liner and like, oh, who's going to be sitting over here? And then it's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. You did so and so back in the 1950s. Ha ha ha. Like he's just kind of soft pedaling it, and then we get to the actual show, and Simon just lets go, and everyone's like, "What the?" So damn entertaining though. Like you and you guys don't even understand. So he's playing the same part that Cardona played in the original like test pilot version of this that they did, and he's doing all the same lines for the most part, except for these ad lib breaking the wall parts. He's doing the same songs, and yes, I don't know how somebody was like, yeah, Simon Miller and Matt Cardona, those are guys who should sing. Like, but at the same time, you guys are like so totally different in the part. Like, he's doing this almost smarmy game show. He reminds me almost of I can't even describe it. But you come in and you're like Dick Dastardly crossed with Killian from Running Man, and it's so different from what Cardona did, and I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, and who would have thought to ever put wrestlers in that kind of position of doing song and dance, and I mean, I guess you guys are all actors, but it's such a different world.
Yeah, well, I do acting as well. That I sort of found that in the pandemic because I was so desperate to do something creative. So I started going to acting schools and stuff. And that's why I was so desperate to do this, because I was like, oh, wow, I get to sort of push it all together, learn lines, learn beats and learn choreography and stuff. So yeah, that's why it was so cool to do it. And also, like when I was doing video game stuff way back when, I already had elements of this character. So because I used to get so bored of video game interviews. When's the sequel coming out? Is it going to have online? What about DLC? I said to my team, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is crazy. This is boring. So
amazing.
We said what we should do. So I did. You get a rare one, but it was bad. It was bad. So I said to everyone, from now on, when you have an interview, you do it in character. You run it by them first. It wasn't like a trick, but you like Ali G or someone like that. Like, you're going to make somebody up. It's way more fun. And that was the character that I did, was a dude that knew nothing about video games, nothing, stupid, asked dumb questions. So when I was coming into this, I thought, I wonder if I could take elements from that. And it was one of those wonderful full circle moments. Like, I just did that for fun. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's elements of this that I can bring in. And you can still find them on the internet. When I was doing that video game stuff, 2K invited me out to WrestleMania. And they gave me interviews with Paul Heyman, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, some other people. I said, do you mind if I do it as this person? Then we have to check with them, but yes, and of course wrestlers don't get it. I think they were happy for it.
Right.
Now, you want me to just do over the top stuff? I was like, I really, really do. So yeah, even in those moments as well, who knew that it would work in such a such a good way. So I love doing that, especially on that night as well, where you were there. I don't know, it's one of those things where everything just came together in the best way, and I had a big smile on my face for about a week. So yeah, that was good.
Well, I got to tell you who my favorite Simon Miller character is. It's one of your newer ones. It's the WWE backstage producer.
So good. Yeah.
They pop me so hard every time because I'm a TV producer. Byron's a TV producer. Tony's like a filmmaker. Like this, you have to understand. Like, I don't know if everybody gets it. Don't really care. You're making content for me, buddy. So keep them coming. It pops me so hard. Like, tell me the idea behind this. What's the funniest thing you've done? And have you pissed off Chelsea Green yet? What's the deal?
So how did it come about? I was trying to. YouTube has changed, right? It's just changed. So with my review stuff, it used to be much more of like a show in inverted commas, and we would put skits in there and stuff. That's not what people want anymore. They want the information quicker. They want the information now because they get their skits from TikTok or Instagram or social media, right? That's why they exist in these 3-minute formats. So for ages, I was like, what can I do? And I feel bad because I really enjoy all of these wrestlers. But I was watching that Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, and I think it was Nia Jax promo on SmackDown. And because they'd picked the worst position to try and shoot them, they were so squeezed in. These are 3 jacked women. I was like, who came up with this stupid idea where they all have to stand like this? So it was a Saturday as well because it was a SmackDown. Obviously, SmackDown airs early Saturday here. So I had the day to myself, and I just thought, I wonder what would happen if you cut away to the producer. So I just did it. It made me laugh, and I always second guess myself. I put it on the internet, I'm going to forget about it. I put it on the internet and I left. And I'm not going to say who because I don't think that's fair on that person. But within, I think, a few hours, someone from WWE had messaged me and going, Simon, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. You got to keep doing them. And that's all I needed to hear to be like, well, if they understand it, they must know that it's all done in good faith. And then I realized when I was watching Raw and SmackDown, it made the show more fun for me because somebody would do something silly or I'd notice something in the background. I was like, oh my gosh, I make notes, parody this. And listen, it's that wonderful thing where, again, at wrestling shows, people go, Miller, I enjoyed your match. Also, really enjoy those producing commentator things you're doing. And I was like, right, you got to keep doing them. So at the moment, it's just sort of trying to find the best place for them. I think it's probably going to be TikTok because it's 2025 and it's just that kind of content. But yeah, I mean, they haven't blown up or anything, but in terms of what I expected, they've taken on a life of their own. Like they do way more views than I ever expected them to. So yeah, I just thought, I love wrestling. I love how dumb it is. We can have fun with this again. We can call this stuff out. And everyone's been so kind. That's a really good confidence boost, right? So they're not going anywhere. And in fact, I'm still trying to figure out ways to get them out there better. But it's a work in progress. That's fine. That's half the fun.
I mean, look, they're still getting some views. Like I know you drop certain things and you get millions very quickly, and then other things it's like 10,000, 20,000 views. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. And one on TikTok did do sort of like I think 90,000 plus, and everyone was really complimentary about it. So I was like, okay, let's keep going, right? And if one really gets in there, we'll have a bunch that people could watch. There is so many now that have done so many of these, so we will populate the internet with them.
What's the worst thing that you've seen in a promo where you were just like, oh, I have to lambast that. I just have to destroy this totally.
I don't even have to think about it because it made me realize they do not think about it. They do think about it. They don't care. It's even better. It was the Sheamus and Rusev one. And Rusev quite literally is crouching behind a box and he stands up to get into the shot. I would never have noticed that if I wasn't doing this stuff.
He does so bad.
He doesn't walk around the corner. He pops up and it's so far in the background you wouldn't notice unless you're being a massive nerd like me, like with binoculars. I cried laughing. I was so excited. I had to get the normal Raw review done first. I sped through that so fast. I want to get the Sheamus Rusev producing skit done. So bad, but also brilliant. Like it cracked me up. So yeah, the Sheamus Rusev one, and that whole thing was quite clearly thrown together in about 8 milliseconds too. So
yeah, to the 25-year-old field producer who directed that, blocking matters. Let's just accept it like blocking matters. Byron knows.
Because why would you be hiding behind a box? It doesn't make any sense. There's no answer to it.
It's so funny.
Other than WWE has been silly. That's it. That's the only answer. You have been silly here. So yeah, I mean, in my dream world, that will take off, and that's the content I'll do for the rest of my life. Nothing pops me more. I get a real kick out of it.
So you are, in fact, a true wrestling fan. You always have been. So what do you like right now? What's out there that is really exciting you overall? Is it a promotion? Is it a storyline? Is it a talent? Like, what do you find exciting? Like, give me some good stuff.
I mean, John Cena on his way out has been brilliant. Like, it really has. It's just been nice. And just to see, I think the coolest thing about doing a retirement run, even though the heel turn didn't go to plan at all, is it gives you time to actually appreciate, what they did. And don't get me wrong, not all of it has been good. Of course it's not. Can't have a 20-year plus career and have a perfect record. But overall, it's just, you get excited when he's on the show. He's allowed to do whatever he wants. We're pulling surprises like the Dominick Mysterio thing. So you just know if he's on the show, even during his heel turn, at least it's going to be interesting to talk about after the fact. But of course, John Cena operates on a different plane. Otherwise, I'll be the first to admit that I think 2025 has been, I want to call it a lame duck year, but I think, both promotions have had their moments where they're like, we don't really have a lot going on. But then they peaked in sort of some great ways as well. I mean, I think only because this is a bit of recency bias here, but I did just watch he doesn't really do very much media, but he did an interview today. I saw Hangman Adam Page doing an interview today, and I was like, that's a good old baby face, is Hangman Adam Page, like a very likable, nice man who you can listen to and go, I really want you to do well, Adam. I really hope that you're successful in your career, because he just talks in such a polite way, really. He's like a very respectable young man. You're like, oh, yeah, that's wonderful. So, and I think what AEW did it all in this year in Texas, I thought listen, I understand the Moxley Hangman match wasn't to everybody's tastes, but I thought the delivery of it and what they wanted to do, I thought they pulled off very well. And I always think you need to look at that in wrestling, like what we were going for here. And I think sort of taking that belt off Mox was done good. Otherwise, the big thing that I will always push, especially given what happened the other day, is I think if it goes the way I hope it goes, even though it has been a bit under the radar, that Obafemi we will look back in 2025 and go, we didn't realize that we were actually putting all the things in place to turn somebody into this. To me, he should be on don't do it this year. You can wait till next year. Let's have some fun. But I don't want him in the John Cena tournament unless he's going to win it. I don't want him in the Royal Rumble unless he's going to win it. That's the kind it's that weird thing. And I've talked about this on videos before, where somebody just becomes your guy and you don't know why. Like Rusev is one of my guys. I don't know why. I just like him. There's something weird about him that I'm drawn to. I saw Obafemi in about 8 seconds, and that's my guy. It's just my guy. And everything
he's done happened to me.
Yeah. And everything he's done since has been, well, actually, some of it has been not even his fault. Some of the stories have actually kind of lost their way a bit, but that happens in NXT, which is fine. It's a third brand. It's developmental. You're allowed to experiment. But overall, you can just feel that curve. And I'm so excited for him to be called up, because I think if they book him right, and they actually do make him their next, they could be heel or face, doesn't really matter, but the next dominant superstar they have. So that's my under the radar choice. Every time I watch him, especially that comeback the other day, where he's even bigger than he was. I was like, damn right, Over, you get in that main roster shape. But yeah, I think 2025 will be a retrospective. We gave him all the tools he needed to totally smash him. I love that guy.
Yeah, I saw him. I don't really watch NXT too much. There's just too many hours in a week. But I am a big fan of Ricky Saints from his Ricky Starks and his NWA days, Power, and I watched their match for Ricky, and I ended up my impression was Obafemi. I was like, no, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I hope like you said, I hope he doesn't come up and then he has to pay dues all over again.
Yeah, screw that.
How they do that sometimes. I don't think he needs to,
Oba's great. Oba's like if you took Moose and crossed him with Carmelo. Like, to me, it's like you're getting the best of both worlds right there. He's lost, but he's also got some mic skills and can talk and has some charisma. Like, no offense to Moose, but I think Oba's got a little more in the charisma department. He's good guys. I'm excited about it. Like, but you pick those guys up sometimes. You just have your guy. Tony, you were gonna say something?
Simon. So no, I was just like, because we are kind of like taking a lot of your time, and I know you're the busiest man in wrestling, Simon Miller. So busy he cannot go to the post office and send me a couple of shares that he still has. Anyways, that's a long story. Look, see that face? You see that face? That face is like those chairs are right behind me.
I know. I got my
It's
chairs
like-
over there.
So there is a story behind this. I do have Tony's and Thunder Rosa's chairs. I bought all these boxes to send to them, and I was I wasn't. I thought I was being very meticulous about this. I wasn't. I bought completely the wrong boxes. And it was such a palaver to send them back and then try and figure out new ones. This is the true story. I literally forgot. I did. It's not even a joke. And then one day Tony went, chairs. I was like, oh my gosh. But one day, Tony, it'll be really exciting. They're just going to turn up and you're going to be like, wow, my chair. They're being protected. They're in my downstairs room. And they are wrapped up in I guess like a bed sheet or whatever you want to say. They're really protected and stored in a nice way.
Now, you only get a pass because you truly are one of the nicest people that I have met while working in this crazy industry that is wrestling.
That's great.
And I have to put this on record. The only reason that I got to work in wrestling and do all the things that I do, we don't talk about on this channel, is because I took direct inspiration from you. And I do have to say that if I hadn't seen, first of all, this is the thing. If I hadn't seen your videos and got inspired by them to actually be just like, I can do that shit too, I can hit my head and say why a lot. That's a thing I can do.
See, you made it look easy, Simon. You made it look very, very easy.
I tried.
It's not.
So from that, it mutated into this other part of the things. And then when I actually got to first talk to you, and and eventually became a friend of yours, and then I got to meet you, and we text and we said stupid stuff that will never be out because it's just too damn silly. But you truly are one of the nicest things about wrestling that I ever expect that I was gonna get, and I just wanted to have that said about you. But at the same time, I want to ask you something. If you guys noticed through the interview, Simon is very unaware of the impact that he has on things. And this is something that I have to remind him constantly as his friend, not even like business-wise or anything like it. Does that help you a lot, dude? Does that help you a lot that, if you say something, you just say it because that's how you feel about it without, I don't know, 5 million people might see it at any given moment, or does that make it easier? Because we're in line in Cardiff, and Simon's like, oh no, nobody knows who I am, man. It's just like
you're calling him
every
aloof.
single person. It's trying to shake his hand and just like Simon Miller, or like they start breaking into chants. That doesn't happen for everybody in life, my man. Let me tell you. But not knowing, not having that burden, I guess. Does that make it, things more fun and easy for you, or it's just you just don't really care about it?
So, firstly, I really do appreciate kind words. Stuff like that means a lot to me. I also, so when that stuff like that does happen, I always describe it as you don't get a bonus in YouTube land. That's my yearly bonus. When people come and say hello or they start chanting, I'm like, it's pretty cool. Like, you can't ask for more than that. Like, it's absolutely, it's the best. But I honestly, I think it's just my nature, because a lot of people have said to me over and over again, Simon, I really think you need to understand. And be it because, again, that's just who I am, because I've seen other people with inflated egos sort of destroy their own careers. Whatever the answer, I've just somehow managed to be completely aloof. And people think, I've had this conversation before, and people are like, it's not true. It's not true. I mean, it really is true. I have no idea. I find it mad that people watch my content. I find it mad that people care. Very appreciative of it, and I need it, because that's how you stay relevant, and social media is just a relevant platform to begin with. But I don't know. I would suppose probably it's something I need to sit down with a shrink about. Talk, I would imagine.
Well, I didn't mean to cause you like a psychotic breakdown.
It's a good thing. No, it's a good thing. I think that humility is. It's so difficult to say that you're humble, because instantly you don't sound like you're humble, right? Oh, I'm very humble. I know you're not. Yeah. You just said you are. Humble person can't say humble. That's why I like to use the word humility instead. I think being appreciative of where you are, and again, if you had told, I always say this, if you had told me when I was 15 years old, one day you get to watch Raw and somebody would give you a paycheck. You're like, how? That's not a job. It literally wasn't a job. It didn't exist. You couldn't do that.
Didn't exist.
You know what I mean? So the fact that I did get to do it, and because it's been going so long, now you get people coming up to you and going, like you just said, Tony, well, I used to watch you do it. I thought I could do it. So this is just nonsense. It's a really cool and it's a really nice thing. But I always think, and I don't really mean this the way it sounds, but it's a saying that pride, always been my way, even before I got into this, that pride comes before a fall. So, of course, be appreciative of it, don't ignore it, but also don't let it change who you are. Don't let it corrupt you, whatever the right word would be, because it's a fleeting thing anyway. YouTube could die tomorrow and the world would keep on turning. We'd be annoyed for 24 hours and then there'd be another new story. We'd all move on. And all the YouTubers would be like, well, we're screwed, and nobody would give a damn, and nor should they. So, yeah, I mean... It's just awesome. It just is. And every time those things happen, you're like, all right, well, I've done something. I managed to achieve something with this absolute nonsense. And long may it continue. I don't want it to end. Although people always go, oh, Simon, if you got offered a WWAW contract, would you keep doing YouTube? I'm like, no. Immediately. Deal instantly. Who would say no? Nobody would say no to that, but that always makes me laugh. Although, who knows? Maybe they would want me to keep doing it. You don't know.
They probably sign you just for that, my man. That's what I think.
Get me off the internet. Sign him, and then he can't talk anymore. We can shut him up.
So, and just like a brief story here. So I don't know if you remember. I think it was the first time that we met in London, and then you are like, "Hey, we were talking about like having Thunder go and visit the What Culture party or whatever, right?" And and that's when I realized that so I've seen him on YouTube, right? And now I've talked to him now, but then we went and the place was packed. I thought it was gonna be like a couple of, I don't know, like 100 people, because I just went to a whole bunch of shows in London. But no, this place was full. And every time Simon talked, they were so happy that he was just like being himself. So I was like, oh man, this dude is huge over here. It's like, if I thought that he was big on the internet as a person, and then of course Thunder just went and did a whole bunch of stuff there and killed it. And but yeah, you deserve everything you get, man. Like, and just very happy for you, and thank you for coming here. I really appreciate it. And yes, go to the post office and send me my share.
Please send this man his share.
I need to get them signed by the people that are still while they're still in that company.
Honestly, that will be my end of year project. I will get those chairs to you before the end of the year. Well, you shouldn't believe me. I have no. What's the word I'm looking for?
Maybe he is a heel after all.
I am.
I know.
You get that sometimes as well. I got a social media post. It was a while ago. They just made up a story about me when I've heard about Simon Miller. He's awful at live show. He won't talk to kids. He doesn't sign it. He just made it up. None of this ever happened. I was like, all right, you can say what you want, I suppose. So yeah, that's the true Simon Miller. Actually, it goes the other way. People think my voice is fake. I always get comments under videos.
The accent is, right?
Well, the accent is, of course. But honestly, I would say the number one comment I've got, aside from bored asshole, is, oh, he puts on that voice. And I don't know how to respond. Like, this is just my voice. There's nothing I can do about this. I literally can't change it.
And even if you did, who cares? Like, you think every radio DJ actually sounds like that? Like, everybody, like, who cares?
I know. It's so weird. Some people get mad. They're like, I'd watch your videos if you did a different voice. I was like, you wouldn't. Because I'd have to go like, welcome to the show.
I would sound like crazy people.
I think we were having a conversation backstage at Riot Cabaret, because I don't know, I said something and then I forgot. Probably Amira said, "Oh, that sounds amazing," and I thought to myself, like, my accent, it's like a Mexican accent. There's nothing like, no, that sounds amazing. And then Simon is like, unlike mine. I'm like, no, dude, I think you have one of the most recognizable voices on YouTube. And I'm like, but then he's like, yeah, but it sounds like Australian. I'm like, no, it does not. It does not sound
Americans
Australian.
think I sound Australian. But then again, my accent nowadays is not half, a little bit American and English. And when you mix those
what
two.
do Americans know? Look at these two guys here. Huh?
Don't call me American. That's mean.
Well, speaking of accents, I got to ask you one final question before we get out of here, Simon.
Please.
I'm going to take you back into a couple years in your career here, and I'm going to ask you about somebody that you've worked with a little bit.
Oh, no.
Do you believe and Joe Hendry.
Oh man! Oh no! Listen.
I mean, he's about to beat John Cena in his last
On the hot
match,
seat.
right? Or is he? I don't know.
I just like to point out that Joe and I worked in the back end of 2023, and then he blew up in 2024. I'm just saying.
Might be a little something to it.
So Joe has actually always been super kind to me. He was there when I was doing my first WCPW run, and I knew nothing. Green as grass, as we've already talked about. Every little faux pas I made, it was Joe that came up and said, maybe I don't want to do it that way. So, yeah, he's always
iron your shit out, buddy. Come on.
Honestly, even small things like Miller, tuck your laces in. Even small things like that, go, Miller, it looks better. Just tuck your laces in. He didn't have to
Don't land on your head.
Yeah,
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but and even the stuff that we did do, he got me on that TNA show. He went to bat for me. He said, "No, he'll be."
Well, that's right. You did that.
Yeah, we can have a lot of fun with this. So no, I believe in Joe for sure. And of course, he still runs a promotion in Scotland. Obviously, he's not he's evolved from a management point of view, but he obviously can't attend as much as he once did. And obviously, it's called Discovery in Scotland. It's a great show. Takes care of everybody. And obviously, I'm included in that too. So now he's always been a good dude. I'm not going to lie, especially the WrestleMania one. I couldn't believe it. I texted him as he was walking to the ring, like, you don't make sense. Like,
Right.
How did you do this? But it's to see it, I think, should be the most wonderful inspiration to everybody. That as long as you come up with something that is yours and special and clicks, there is no ceiling to this madness. You can make it work. I doubt many people are going to replicate what Joe did. That's a very specific thing.
If he gets this match with Cena, he's talked about it. I would love to see it happen. I don't know if it's feasible. I don't know if it's even possible. I think, is this just a pipe dream world? Who knows? I would love for WWE to have the balls to do something like that. And I also thought Dominick would be a great last match, but now Dominick's already had one. So now I'm just thinking, good Lord, is Joe Hendry really going to get, is this Joe Hendry's moment? This could
I
be
think
it.
Joe Hendry should win and then he should retire, because you can't get a better year than surprise Royal Rumble, surprise WrestleMania, and then you go away forever, Joe. Your legacy will be up here for the rest of your
life. Walk away.
This is one of the craziest things about wrestling too, because Joe is not a spring chicken either. Let's be honest. Like, Joe is not a young guy, yet somehow he is the top prospect for the WWE right now.
Yeah,
like,
and that's why wrestling's great, because it makes no sense.
Diamond Gage has to be furious right now. Like, he used to be the guy who was like, yeah, he started when he was 30, whatever. Now it's like, Tama Tonga is coming in at like 42 years old from New Japan, being beaten up for the last 10 years straight, and he's coming in like he's some top new prospect. I'm going, what is happening? Wrestling makes no sense anymore.
That's it. But
he wears the face paint. You can't tell.
It's true.
It's great.
As a man that is hitting late 30s, yes.
You're almost near the year time.
You're 42, as we established already.
I am 42.
Canonically, you
heard it here first from top up-and-coming prospect Simon Miller.
There is a good thing about being bald. It somehow makes you ageless. It's a weird thing. I have aged, but people can't tell because of the baldness. It's really weird. It's really strange.
Yeah, I think that was Carrion's problem. I think he should have our boy Cross.
That long hair is great. I looked at it the other day. I was like, man, you have good hair.
It's so luscious. Good. It's so luscious.
Really
I know you're jealous. We showed that picture earlier. You're jealous.
I would have the longest hair these days.
Again, we can all go to Turkey, and that would not be a problem the next day.
I would have done it. That boom was like 5 years too late for me, because that was quite affordable. When I was looking into it, it was no
like
way,
$40,000.
Yeah. Whereas now I would have done it. Absolutely, I would have done for sure. If I was lost my hair in the last 5 years, I would have jumped on it. I would have done.
I think
too easy.
Right now here in Mexico is like $5,000.
Yeah.
So
you can find, right? You can get a loan. You can find 5. Finding 35 is a difference.
Yeah.
Well, now you
have to go steal a car.
Was off TV after his last contract negotiation. He was like, "Oh, I got some money now. Let's get
let's go ahead.
Fill in some blanks here, guys."
I'm waiting on a couple of contracts to pass, and if I don't see you for like 2 months,
you know what's going on.
You know how I'm coming back with a helmet and just like.
With his AJ Styles soccer mom deal going on.
Yeah,
the dream.
Absolutely.
The absolute dream.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you here. You can always stop by. Not that you need our presence on the internet, but we just love chopping it up with you and hanging out and shooting the shit. We've been talking about doing something like this for a while, but now was the time, and I'm glad you had the time to do it because, again, you've just recently created my favorite Simon Miller character of all time with the backstage WWE producer. So keep that up, and I don't really give a shit what else you do because I need you to entertain me. That's it.
That's what it's all about, dude. But genuinely, thank you for having me on. You're all great guys, and thank you for the kind words, because what will happen now is be a random Wednesday, and I'll remember all of this, and that's good for my motivation and all of that. So thank you for being cool and kind, and for backing up the producer guy, because I've got illusions of grandeur with that now. I'm going to try and turn it into the biggest thing in all of wrestling. I'm going to try and do it where wrestlers start cameoing on the show. That's my new dream. Someone just randomly walks in, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. Until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.